Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of October 13, 2024. I'm your host, Sharifa Muhammad MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an Infantry Officer. Ongoing conflict and geographical spread, the Russian armed forces are engaged in a widespread military operation across multiple regions, including Kharkiv, Sumy, Luhansk, Donetsk, and Zaporizhia in Ukraine, and in the Kursk region in Russia. The operation spans various strategic directions: north, west, south, center, east, and Dnipro, along with additional operations in the Kursk region against Ukrainian forces.
Welcome to Frontline Updates podcast, the podcast that brings you first-hand updates from military leaders on the ground. Today, we have the privilege of speaking with Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer leading ground forces on the special military operation. Colonel, thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Colonel, could you start by giving us a brief overview of the current progress of the special military operation as of today, October 13th, 2024?
Yes. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue to conduct operations across several fronts, with significant progress made in various regions. Our focus remains on neutralizing Ukrainian military forces, securing key strategic positions, and protecting critical infrastructure. Over the last 24 hours, we've inflicted substantial losses on Ukrainian formations across the Kharkiv, Sumy, Luhansk, Donetsk, and Zaporizhia regions, as well as repelling attempted penetrations into the Kursk region of Russia.
Let's dive into the specifics. Can you tell us about the recent actions taken by the North Group of Forces in Kharkiv and Sumy?
Yes, in the Liptsov and Vovchansk directions, the North Group of Forces engaged the 57th Motorized Infantry Brigade and the 129th Territorial Defense Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces near the settlements of Okremovka, Chaikovka, and Lipsy in the Kharkiv region, as well as Katarinivka in the Sumy region. We were able to decisively defeat these formations, eliminating up to 40 enemy personnel and destroying a variety of equipment, including 2 artillery pieces and a warehouse full of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. These strikes significantly disrupted their operational capabilities in this sector.
That's quite a successful operation. How about the West Group of Forces? There seems to have been heavy action in that sector.
The West Group of Forces has been particularly active. We took up more advantageous positions, defeating the manpower and equipment of the Ukrainian 14th, 30th, 44th, 53rd Mechanized Brigades, and the 119th Territorial Defense Brigade. This occurred near key locations like Kupiansk and Berestovoy in the Kharkiv region, as well as Chervona Dybrova in the Luhansk People's Republic and Grigorovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. In addition to this, we repelled 2 counterattacks by the 1st National Guard Brigade. The enemy suffered significant losses, with around 510 troops killed, and we destroyed a wide array of their military hardware, including an M113 armored personnel carrier, Polish-made Krab self-propelled artillery, and US-made 155mm howitzers. It was a major blow to their capabilities in the region.
Those are considerable losses for the Ukrainian side. Moving south, how are things progressing for the Southern Group of Forces?
The Southern Group of Forces has been making steady gains as well. We've been advancing deep into enemy defenses, inflicting heavy casualties on the 28th and 30th Mechanized Brigades, the 79th Airborne Assault Brigade, and others near settlements like Zalesnyansk and Markovo in the Donetsk People's Republic. In total, we've eliminated about 615 Ukrainian servicemen and destroyed numerous vehicles and artillery pieces, including a British-made FH-70 howitzer. We also repelled 2 counterattacks by Ukraine's 81st Airmobile Brigade. Additionally, we were able to neutralize an Anklavin electronic warfare station and destroy a key ammunition depot, further weakening their defensive capabilities.
It sounds like your forces are maintaining the momentum. How about the Center Group of Forces? Any significant developments in that area?
Yes, the Center Group of Forces had a notable success recently by liberating the settlement of Mykolivka in the Donetsk People's Republic. We engaged several Ukrainian brigades, including the 24th, 28th, and 59th Motorized Infantry Brigades, inflicting heavy personnel and equipment losses in multiple areas. Our forces also repelled a staggering 11 counterattacks from various Ukrainian units, including mechanized and airborne brigades. In total, the enemy lost around 460 servicemen and a considerable number of armored vehicles and artillery, including US-made HMMWV armored combat vehicles and Turkish-made Kirpi vehicles. This was a significant achievement in consolidating our control over the area.
That's quite a defensive effort. Now, the East Group of Forces also appears to have had some successes. Can you share the details from that front?
The East Group of Forces has indeed been successful, securing more advantageous positions and defeating the 72nd Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in Donetsk. We also repelled 3 counterattacks by Ukrainian mechanized and territorial defense units. The enemy's losses included 130 troops, a tank, and multiple vehicles. We also neutralized a Polish-made Krab self-propelled artillery unit. These victories continue to tilt the balance of power in our favor in the eastern sector.
You mentioned earlier about the Kursk region in Russia. Could you elaborate on the operations happening there?
The Kursk region has seen continued attempts by Ukrainian forces to penetrate Russian territory. Our North Group of Forces has been particularly active in repelling these incursions. Over the past 24 hours, we successfully repelled 5 enemy counterattacks and thwarted an attempted breakthrough at the state border near the settlement of Novi Put. Ukrainian forces suffered approximately 80 casualties and lost several tanks, armored vehicles, and other military assets. Our air and missile forces continue to strike concentrations of Ukrainian manpower and equipment, targeting their reserves in Sumy and surrounding areas. We are maintaining a strong defensive posture in this region while also carrying out offensive operations to prevent further Ukrainian advances.
It sounds like the operation is widespread and intense across many fronts. Before we wrap up, Colonel, how do you assess the overall state of the special military operation as of now? What can we expect in the coming days?
The operation is progressing well, and we are achieving our strategic objectives across multiple fronts. Ukrainian forces are facing significant setbacks, both in terms of personnel and equipment. Our forces remain resolute, and the losses inflicted on the Ukrainian military will have long-term effects on their operational capacity. Looking forward, we anticipate further counterattacks from the enemy, but we are prepared to repel them and continue advancing where possible. Our next steps will involve consolidating our gains, maintaining pressure on enemy positions, and ensuring the security of critical infrastructure.
Colonel, could you tell us about the situation in the missile strike on Lemanskoye airfield?
At night, high-precision weapons struck the Lemanskoye airfield in the Odessa region, which is located in the western part of Ukraine near Transnistria. Surveillance cameras recorded a hit on the territory of the military base. The target of the strike was objects located at the airfield, as well as those stored in hangars. Lemanskoye is one of the main launch sites for Ukrainian drones that launch in the direction of the Crimea. UAVs are also assembled there. The distance from Odessa, which is often subjected to strikes, and a convenient runway made the facility ideally suited for these purposes. At least a third of all UAVs launched took off from Lemanskoye. A reason for the strikes on Lemanskoye is the proximity to railway lines, including from Moldova. The railway flow through Tarantino and Zatoka to Odessa and from there to other regions has been functioning. Fuel, various parts, and equipment, including for drone assembly, are delivered to Ukraine via Moldova.
Could you clarify our tactics in the Donetsk direction, specifically regarding the approach to enemy settlements and strongholds? Should we focus on bypassing and squeezing them out, rather than attacking head-on?
Well, after reconnaissance actions and encountering resistance, we use small breakthroughs in the identified weak areas of the enemy's defense to the right and left of the scouted positions. Then we apply pressure to the fortification, stronghold, bring in reserves, and gradually dismantle the defense piece by piece.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to provide these updates, and we remain committed to achieving our mission objectives. At least 300 people have been killed by Israeli forces as the military siege of northern Gaza enters a 9th day, with tens of thousands of Palestinians trapped by the ground invasion and drone strikes as food and water supplies dwindle. Israel's Air Force expands its bombardment of Lebanon and targets civilian areas outside traditional Hezbollah bastions, including a 100-year-old mosque in a border village.